from Psalm 103. And let's bow our heads, please. Dear Jesus, as we come before you, in Jesus' name, we, your people, will praise you with our innermost being. Father, we praise your holy name. We will not forget your benefits, and we give you praise and thanksgiving because you have forgiven our sins and healed our diseases. We praise you because you have redeemed our life from the pit and crowned us with compassion. Father, we praise you because you satisfy our desires with good things, and you renew our youth like the eagles. Father, we praise you and honor you. You alone work righteousness for the oppressed. You are compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, and abounding in love. And dear Jesus, we do thank you for how you help each one of us, and we all come here today hoping to get a fresh indwelling of your Spirit. Lord, whether it be the oppressed or those that are full of energy, we just pray that you'll be with each one in the way that they need, and they will get what they need from this service. And Lord, most of all, we just ask for your blessed peace to fall upon this service. For we ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Good morning. Really good to see all of you here today. In Hebrews 13:15 it says, "Through Jesus, therefore, let us continually offer to God a sacrifice of praise, the fruit of lips that confess his name, and do not forget to do good and share with others. For with such sacrifices, God is praised." So praise you today, Lord, and thank you for who you are.
Hear my song, hear my cry.
My weapon is a melody, as that song says. And we just want to give you praise. I raise a hallelujah in the presence of my enemies. I raise a hallelujah louder than the unbelief. I raise a hallelujah. My weapon is a melody. I raise a hallelujah. Heaven comes to fight for me. Praise Him. And I'm gonna sing in the middle of the storm. Louder and louder, oh, I hear my praises roar. Sunday school this morning, we were in the book of John, and we talked about the light that came down to the world. And this was saying, "Here I am, worship." Lord, we thank you for this day. And thank you for your love. If you'd like to come and pray for this time, at this time our altars are open. Just trust and obey. When we walk with the Lord in the light of His word, what glory He sheds on our way. While we do His good will, He abides with us still, and with all who will trust and obey. Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus, but to trust and obey.
The Lord's trying to take my fear away from me down here. But anyway, we went on a vacation, and a lot of you know that. Before I went, I told my family they weren't allowed to talk about cancer there. I wanted to be like them for 2 weeks. Well, last Sunday, we wanted to worship God, and they said in the ship itinerary that that we could meet, but it was on our own. So we decided, I brought a devotional, and I went up to do a devotional, and this couple from Holland came, and he was really searching for the Lord. And so I had to give my testimony. It's just like, Lord, when you say, I'm not going to do something, well, you're going to do it. But anyway, it was all a God thing, and we met 2 more times. And then he brought his parents who were Christians, and we got to worship with people from another country. And that's just how good God is.
Amen.
Longing for glory, till only you remain. I'm coming. the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 11, verse 7. Light is sweet, and it is pleasant for the eyes to see the sun. So if a person lives many years, let him rejoice in them all. But let him remember that the days of darkness will be many. All that comes is vanity. Rejoice, O young man, in your youth, and let your heart cheer you in the days of your youth. Walk in the ways of your heart and the sight of your eyes. But know that for all these things God will bring you into judgment. Remove vexation from your heart and put away pain from your body, for youth and the dawn of life are vanity. Remember also your Creator in the days of your youth, before the evil days come and the years draw near, of which you will say, I have no pleasure in them. The word of the Lord to us this morning.
A couple words before we begin. First of all, to Kara. You know, it's the truth. The Lord is the reason why we sing. But it's also for a young person. It's the reason why we praise the Lord too. She's an old soul. You don't see too many young people with an old soul. And then Bob, I was late getting my outline into this week. I think it was Thursday. But yet you took the time. Every one of those songs had to do with the message this morning, and I know that wasn't just an accident. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you. I wrote down just some of the basic things from what we sang this morning. Jesus, you stepped down into darkness. Boy, did he we live in a dark world, but I tell you, he wants us to enjoy our lives anyway. Many of you are going through things. And I can tell you that age doesn't make it easier to go through things. We need to be constantly reminded that he stepped down into darkness for us. He humbly came, and we'll never know the cost. We'll never see the sins, the cost of our sins that was paid on the cross. And up from the ashes, hope will rise. There's a lot of ashes today. A lot of people hurting. A lot of people troubled. But we're still to enjoy life because we have Jesus. I'm going to sing in the middle of the storm. That's what today's message is about, Bob. We're to sing in the middle of the storm. I'll watch the darkness flee. I tell you, when we sing in the storm, when we get our eyes on Jesus, isn't it true the darkness flees? Amen. It will be my joy today. Your will, your way, always. Life can be tough, but when you know that you're doing God's will, and that's your way, life's good. Oh, my hand on my heart, this much is true. There's no life apart from you. That's exactly what Solomon's going to tell us this morning. And so, we need to sing it a little louder. In the presence of our enemy, we just need to sing a little louder and enjoy life and love the Lord anyway. Amen. It's a great moment in one's life when you realize that life is meant to be in enjoyed, not just endured. For the biggest part, on the vast majority of days, I do enjoy my life. I have a day once in a while, it's a day. But the vast majority of my days, even though there's all this stuff that needs to be fixed and I can't fix it, and people are hurting and dealing with people that are hurting, I want you to know I still enjoy my life. I think we're meant to. Many take it for granted that a minister's life is boring, or should be boring in the pits. If you've ever read any preacher's lives, there's all kinds of jokes in there, about how boring a preacher's life is supposed to be. Especially if they're living the way they should be living, then it's got to be really boring because they're living the way they should be. I want you to know it's not so for Susan and I. We're not bored. We're not unhappy. We're enjoying life. As we've gotten older, we're laughing at ourselves more than we've ever laughed at ourselves before. And now we realize that God has to be up there laughing at people when they're getting old. Speaking for myself, I'll say it again, I am enjoying life. Some people say you're looking forward to retirement. There's a day occasionally where I am looking forward to it, but I'm not really looking forward to it. I love life. I love being a pastor. I love being your pastor. But I do have a day once in a while. In the Preacher's Magazine, I read of someone who thought a preacher's life had to be the pits. A lady, I think I used this several years ago, was waiting in a checkout line, and she noticed a very well-dressed, distinguished young man, or a man behind her. And he just seemed especially dignified, and she asked him, "Do you happen to be a minister?" He replied, "No, I'm not. I've just been sick lately." With so much that needs to be fixed, you get older and you realize you can't fix it. You sometimes have a heavy heart. But even with a heavy heart, God intends us to enjoy our lives.
Amen.
How about you this morning? Are you enjoying life, or have you put that on hold? Please know that God wants you to enjoy life no matter what you're facing, no matter what you're going through. In 35 years as a minister, I've encountered many who seem to have put enjoying life on hold. For too many, life has become a grim marathon of misery, an endurance test of frowns and groans and sighs. Yes, I know. I do. I spend a good deal of time ministering to hurting people. And by the way, there's always going to be hurting people. To those who are suffering, along with other advice, we need to laugh at ourselves. I'm serious. I come to you this morning, people say, Pastor, you're always leaning on us. I have no desire to lean on anybody about anything today. I come to you today just wanting you to enjoy the message and understand that life is meant to be enjoyed. At least in this one service, I don't want to lean on you. I don't want to talk to you about spiritual growth. I just want to talk to you about enjoying life and being happy. I want us to laugh. And so I'm hoping that we get a laugh or two in today. I want to laugh, and I want you to laugh, and I want you to enjoy this service. Can you think of anyone who loves to spend lots of time with those who've stopped enjoying life? They would probably rather invest their time with a pet. In the last year, or two. I've been thankful for pets. With an animal that, sometimes you would rather invest your time with a pet than with people. With an animal that can't even talk. We've experienced a lot of rain clouds this spring and this summer, have we not? Susan and I have a dog named Gus. We have a bird named Bird. The first time I read the bumper sticker, "Have you hugged your dog lately?" I understood. It made me smile seeing that. Our dog loves to be hugged. When you come home, he wants his hug. Both Gus and Bird make me smile. When I come downstairs in the morning and turn on the shower, Bird hears that shower from the other room and he begins to call for me. Sometimes he says, "Come here. Come here." He loves to take a shower. And if that doesn't work, then he begins to do some kind of a jungle squat, trying to get your attention. He gets all worked up. And sometimes when he's on his way to the shower, I put him on my shoulder and he's jumping up and down, getting all excited about it. That puts a smile on my face. Susan will come down. "Did you give Gus a shower this morning?" "Well, I'm kind of busy. Not today." In the evening, sometimes when we've been out and come home, and I'm tired, and I go over and I sit down in my lazy boy, Gus is not tired. He's been home all day by himself. And especially when we've been gone all day, and then we're gone in the evening too, Gus is ready to play when we're ready to just kick back on an easy chair. And he'll come over and he'll bite my toes saying, "Get up, I want to be chased." Puts a smile on my face. Or when I've been writing and studying for a couple of hours and he's ready for me not to be doing that anymore, when I turn my head, he'll come and he'll take my pen or he'll take my whiteout and he'll run and go underneath the table and say, "I got you out of that chair, didn't I?" Or he'll bring his ball. And it's amazing how accurate he can be throwing that ball. A dog never says, "Man, I've had a bad day." A dog never says, "I've been alone all day, Mom." He doesn't do that. Gus is Susan's dog. We've had other dogs. It's kind of been my dog, and Gus is Susan's dog. And at first that kind of bothered me a little bit, but now I've just learned to live with it. He won't go to bed, and I'll go to bed, but Gus doesn't go to bed till Susan comes to bed. I'll be laying there, and when I hear her coming, I'll hear her and tear right by her. He's on his way to bed. I never thought we would ever sleep with a dog. He's her dog all day long, but at night he lays on my legs. I'm usually up first. He doesn't make a move when I go downstairs. He won't even look my way. He won't even lift his head. But you let her even begin to get up, and he's up and down those stairs. Unless I go down and take the frying pan and kind of bang it around on the stove a little bit, cooking eggs, and he comes down. It is best to enjoy life, even if you're getting older and things are different. Some of you younger people, I'll tell you right now, when you get older, things will be different. And that's why I said, I think God has to be looking down and laughing sometimes at us. The other day, the roofers were gone, and they apparently left in a hurry. They did a great job, very pleased with them. But on that side porch, they left some stuff up there, some tar paper, shingle paper. And so I got the ladder and I went over to the side roof. And now when I go in on a ladder, she didn't used to, but now when I get on a ladder, I'll hold the ladder for you. So now it's her holding the ladder and me going up the ladder. And I got up on that side roof and then I started to get down, but the ladder was a short ladder and it barely made it up, which meant I had to get kind of feel my way back to find that first rung, and I couldn't reach back that far. And when you've been married 47 years, you kind of know things, and she's down there kind of laughing. What's the matter? Can't get my legs down far enough to reach that first rung. I'm too stiff. She said, "What are you going to do?" And I'm literally up there on that roof thinking, how am I going to get off this roof? But finally, shaking, stiff and sore, I got down, and you know what we did? We just laughed about it. Someone said, what you can't do anything about, give it to the Lord, and that's true. But I say, what you can't do anything about, you also need to laugh about it. Enjoy life anyway. That's what I want to tell you this morning. I'm telling you, wherever you're at, enjoy life anyway. Laugh at your problems. What are you waiting for? Well, Solomon gives us some under the sun answers, and I'll go over those, and then I'll do some over the sun answers. The first one that comes to mind, people say, I'm waiting until I have things I've always wanted, then I'll be happy. I'm telling you right now that that won't be true. That directly connects happiness with material possessions, and you'll never have enough. If possessions is what it takes for you, there's always going to be something else. If possessions brought happiness, America would be the happiest country in the world, and we are not the happiest country in the world. They tell us that we're the most unhappy country in the world. The many things people try and do short of Jesus, it's not working. We're going, one of the best messages I've ever heard, our associate pastor preached, I believe it was this last Sunday night, and it was so true. The church is going in the wrong direction, and I hate it, and it grieves me. I'm not talking about this church. I'm talking about the church of Jesus Christ in America, and there's nothing I can do about it, and I can pray, but we need to enjoy life anyway. Somebody help me. Someone wrote that on a scale of 1 to 10, America would be somewhere around a 2 or 3 in happiness. I remember a few years ago being out to eat. We went to a new restaurant, and it was terrible. But the pastor's kind of has to be positive, and the couple we were with, he asked, Pastor, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think about this meal? And I thought, well, I'll be as positive as I can, so I said, a 7. And his wife hollered, a 7? This is not a 7. This is a 2. And it was. And on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at in happiness and enjoying life? The second under the sun answer to being happy is freedom. We got all this people wanting more freedom and more freedom, and we have more freedom now than people can handle. Freedom to do whatever we want. We pretty well are there, and it has brought a lot of misery and unhappiness to our people. Can you give me that?
Amen.
Many are suffering from this kind of so-called freedom to do anything and everything that they want to do, regardless of how that might affect others. They're free. This kind of freedom has turned right into wrong and wrong into right. And God's Word said that in the last days that it would be that way, but we just did not imagine it quite being the way it is today. I didn't. All of a sudden, right is wrong and wrong is right. And that has not resulted in happiness. It has resulted in the opposite of happiness. It has resulted, for the most part, in this search for happiness that cannot be found outside of Jesus or under the sun. Other answers that people claim are the cause for their unhappiness. I'm waiting for a person who will fulfill my life. Well, I've been around a few years and I've noticed something. Unless someone decides they're going to be happy, they're going to continue to be unhappy. Amen. And I tell you young people something, if you marry someone who's unhappy, you need to know that until they decide they're going to be happy, they will not be happy. Amen. You will not be able to make them happy. And so, just a little word to the wise there. Or I'm waiting for a different boss. It's this boss I have. When we get rid of this boss and get a better boss, it'll be better. Or I'm waiting for things to change at home. When things change at home, then I'll be happy. What am I trying to say? I'm saying there's lots of excuses that people use to say, I'll be happy when. None of these hold water. We need to enjoy life and be happy anyway. Nothing below the sun satisfies. Only Christ satisfies. Amen. What did it say here? Hand on my heart, this much is true. There's no life apart from you.
Amen.
Wow. I like that. I believe that. If you're waiting for a person to bring you happiness, you're going to have a long life of waiting.
Amen.
There's another possible answer. I'm waiting till I have achieved my goals and realized my dream. When I own my own business, I'll be happy. Good luck with that. When I'm retired, I'll be happy. When I've banked $1 million, I stopped and saw Gary Rutherford yesterday. It saddened me that he closed down his lot, and I noticed that Kev's Cars bought that lot, and they brought Gary Rutherford back in. He's now working there with Kev Cars. And I went in and I said, Gary, don't get excited. I didn't come here. I don't need a car. I just come to say I'm glad you're back in here. And what a good visit we had. I think he could probably tell you that owning his own business wasn't everything that it was cracked up to be. I said, Gary, what happened? He said, well, he says, I'll tell you what happened. He said, selling cars went past me. He said, this corner It's the best corner in town. It used to be, if I put a bright, shiny car out there and someone drove by, they'd wheel in here and ask about that car. He said, people don't do that anymore. They get on the internet and they find the car and they know how much the car is worth and how much they're going to give. And he said, it just all passed me by. And he said, now Kev has this young son and he's all about the internet. Well, things will pass us by. We need to enjoy life anyway. The realization of our dreams will never make us smile contently deep down inside. There's only one thing that causes us to be smiling deep down. And I'm telling you people, please listen to me. It's Jesus. It's Jesus. People think nothing's happening. I want you to know that things are happening. Friday night, I led a young couple to be married to the Lord, or married together to the Lord. The Friday night before that, I led a young couple to the Lord. I told you about him last Sunday. Here came this young man and his new bride and his 10-year-old son to sit in a Bible study with people mostly my age.
Amen.
But he was here.
Amen.
And last Sunday morning, a young girl came after the service and said, will you pray for me? I want God to forgive me and come in and be my Savior. Just when you think God is not doing anything, you find God is doing things.
Amen.
Is your life full of difficulties and temptation? If it is, your life's just like everybody else's life. Just be happy anyway. Don't wait. James in chapter 1 says, consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds. Really? Really? It says, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance, and perseverance must finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. We don't need things. We don't need people. We don't need vast accomplishments to be happy. We need Jesus to be happy.
Amen.
And when He's at the center of our lives, we're happy. And usually when we're starting to be a little unhappy, we look and, we need to get Jesus back to the center of our lives. Struggles, in fact, can become some of the best experiences. I look back and preparing this, and I remember working 42 hours a week, going to college 4 nights a week for 4.5 hours, and teaching that same time, Sunday school in the morning, and preaching every Sunday night. And I remember, first of all, I couldn't do that now, but it was some of the happiest days of our lives. A group of women had once been married to famous celebrities. Were on talk show. They didn't agree on everything, but they did agree that more money brought more problems. They also agreed that struggling was more fun than being rich. Their happiest days in their lives were in their most simple days. They said collectively, we didn't realize it then, but we do now. And so what are we waiting for this morning? Happiness is for today. We're not to put enjoying life off. It is not something that comes at a certain age. So don't think, kids, if I could just get past these teen years. By the way, these verses, if you'll look in your paragraph Bible, they're addressed to young people. Who has a paragraph Bible? It says right here, remember your Creator while young, right before these verses. The young are waiting until they get older, and the older are wishing they were younger. Happiness has nothing to do with our age. The chief end of man is to love God and enjoy Him forever. Not just serve Him, not just obey Him, not just sacrifice for Him, but enjoy Him. Solomon says you need to learn to laugh throughout your lives. Smile in His presence. Learn to laugh at yourself as well as others. God wants us to enjoy life, to have a blast, if you will, from last Sunday. Have a blast while you last. Number 3, what does Solomon say about enjoying life? Let's look at the verses now. Verse 7, the light is pleasant, and it is good for the eyes to see the sun. What he's saying is, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The same thing the psalmist said. Focus on God's loving arms around us. When we focus on Jesus, He lifts the gloom and takes the sting of pain and depression of life. We all experience that at times, but focusing on Jesus takes that away. Indeed, if a man lives, in verse 8, many years, let him rejoice in them all. He's saying, start enjoying life now. Don't wait. And continue to enjoy life, your entire life. A few years ago, well, many years ago now, I was asked to take a group of 10-year-old boys. And so I volunteered. I went to a camp for 10-year-olds, and I think I had 10-year-old boys in my cabin. Well, I'd never done anything to do like that. I thought, well, this ought to be a lot of fun. 10-year-old boys. I don't remember when I was 10 years old ever being homesick. We got in there, and one of those boys was really homesick, and then that resulted in a couple of other boys being homesick, and the first thing you know, I had a cabin full of 10-year-old boys that were really homesick. No one told me, Terry, now whatever you do, don't let one of them boys call home. I didn't know that. And this little guy came up to me and he says, would it be all right if I call my mother? And I said, sure, I'll take you up. You can call your mother. And as soon as she got on the phone, he starts squalling. And she said, I'll be there to pick you up. And I said, something's got to be done here. We got to get these boys' minds off their mothers. Or, another day like this, I won't have any 10-year-old boys left. So I come up with a plan. We're going to go down in the woods, and we're going to look for frogs and toads and turtles. We went down in the woods, and luck was on our side, and we found a couple toads and found a turtle. Well, what are we going to do now? Well, we're going to take them tonight when it's dark. Nobody can see us. We're going to take these toads and turtles over to the girls' cabin. And we're going to open the door, Jim, and we're going to throw them toads and that turtle in that cabin. Boy, they were just so excited all day long. They couldn't wait for nightfall. And we snuck over there and opened that door and throwed them toads and turtle in there. And there was all kinds of screaming and carrying on. And those 10-year-old boys just skipped all the way back to the cabin. The next night we took water balloons. I won't tell you about that. It wasn't very nice. It was hot in the Carolinas, and big open screens, and those water balloons against the screen. Well, you can use your imagination. At the end of the week, there was a young boy there. He'd never been to camp. He'd never been to church. He came as a friend. He said, I want you to pick out one boy from your camp to tell the people what kind of a how good a time, or tell about their camp experience. And this little 10-year-old boy got up there and he said, I'll tell you right now, he said, this being a Christian is a blast. If I knew how fun being a Christian was, I became a Christian a long time ago. We need to have fun. There's nothing that puts a smile on my face quicker and longer than toilet tissue. You know, that's a thing of the past, and I know, and I'm probably opening myself up for a situation. But Mindy knew. Mindy was the TP queen of Marietta, Nazarene. We came home, and there was toilet paper hanging everywhere. And we laughed because some kids had some fun. I would rather see toilet paper than empty beer cans or whatever. Any day. Any day. I remember old Ralph Deans. Ralph, he was crippled. And he lived up the street. And he would come down, and you would hear him coming way a block away. He'd be coming. He'd just be cackling and laughing. Ralph was a part of our church, and he loved the Lord, and he loved people, and he enjoyed life. Being a teen is tough. I'll tell you that right now. There's just all kinds of changes going on. But don't plan on being happy when you get older. Be happy now. Just enjoy life. Solomon says, being a young person is a wonderful thing. It only happens one time in your life, and when it's over, it's over. Marie, you're about to find that out. You're just real quick. What great years you're living in. And someday you'll look back and you'll say, man, those were great years in my life, those teenage years. Verse 9, rejoice, young man, during your childhood, and let your heart be pleasant during the days of young manhood. What is he saying there? Have a blast. Enjoy life while you can, because there's a day coming when you won't even be able to get down a ladder or come down a ladder without your wife holding the ladder and the whole ladder quit. It's really meant for you to enjoy today. And verse 9 also says, yet know that God will bring you to judgment for all these things. We must not forget God when we're having that blast. Amen. When we're enjoying life. Because God is going to bring us to account. Gus loves to play hide and seek. You ever heard of a dog? I tell people he's not the smartest dog we've ever known, but he loves to play hide and seek. I hide and he tries to find me. He loves running around that circle in our house. There's a big circle. And he'll run back there and hide, and he's waiting to see which side I'm going to come. And then when he sees me, he runs to the other side of the circle. And I run as fast as I can, which is not that fast anymore, and it makes my knees hurt a little bit, but man, we smile and we laugh and we have a time. I at least several times a week I hear, put that down, put that down. TJ, tell him to put that down. He doesn't listen to her a bit more than nothing. But when I say put that down, boy, he drops it right down. Number 10, remove the sorrow from your heart. In your pursuit of happiness, a rebellious spirit is the biggest enemy you will find. There's so much rebellion going on today, but have you ever seen more unhappiness have you ever seen so much angry? A rebellious spirit does not bring happiness. It brings misery. Have you ever saw a rebellious happy person? Hold your hand up. I never have. Put away pain from your body, he says in verse 10. What he's saying here is put away the things in life that will cause you pain down the road. You're afraid as a pastor to even say anything, but I want you to know that my experience with alcohol is probably a lot different than some of your experiences with alcohol. And you've never heard me say that if you drink a glass of wine with a meal, that you're lost. But I don't. Because I experienced the pain and the misery of alcohol and drugs. It says, put away pain from your body. Why young people would take drugs today, seeing all the pain and all the misery and all the dysfunction that comes from drugs, is beyond me. When I was in junior high, J.R. Brown's boy from J.R. Trucking, Jim Brown, came out of Ball's Supermarket with a bottle of Trucker's pills. I think they were called Bibles. I said, here, Terry. He took 4, but he was about 160 pounds or 50 pounds. And I thought, well, if he can take 4, I can take 2. Well, I made 10 laps around the square as fast as I could go. Ran 6 blocks home as fast as I could go. Barely made it up the upstairs to my bedroom and laid on the floor, and my heart just boom, boom, boom. And I determined right then I'd not be taking any more pills in my life as a 11, 12-year-old boy. Well, there's a lot worse than Viagra now. There's a lot worse than Trucker's pills. And I tell you, they'll bring you nothing but misery, nothing but pain. They'll cost you everything that you have. Take an honest look at what drugs do. I remember, didn't mean for this to happen, but we always taught our kids from an early age that smoking was bad. Smoking would cause health problems. And don't ever smoke because you could get cancer or you could get lung problems. And we went in, I don't know, back years ago when you could go into a restaurant and smoke. Jamie disappeared and I went over, and she was a couple tables over, and she was giving this family, she was giving them the what for. He was telling them, you're killing us! You're going to kill us with those cigarettes. And we run over there and say, oh, Jamie, get over here. Well, they're smoking, Dad. They're killing us. They're killing us. You will suffer if you make some of these things a part of your life. You're going to suffer down the road. And the last verse, it's found in chapter 12. Solomon, you should remember your Creator, he says, in the days of your youth. You know, the devil says, you're young, you've got your whole life. The devil says, everybody else my age, they did these things, so I should be able to do these things. You know, I've got my whole life. I can turn to the Lord later, but I'm young. The devil says, you're only young once, so, live it up. But Solomon says, you're much wiser to remember your Creator in the days of your youth. Your life will be so much better if you live for God and remember God. Solomon learned the hard way. And that's why he's saying, I learned the hard way. Don't you learn the hard way. But so many people today, they have to learn the hard way. You can yell and scream and preach and write notes and send them Bibles with underlined scriptures. I've never done that, but I've had people tell me that so-and-so sent me a Bible, and boy, they underlined this scripture here. Look at this, and look at this. But they're going to do it anyway. It's personal. It's a personal decision, and you have to make it now. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it God's way, not the world's way. Many are like Solomon. It takes them time. But that time is very costly time. I remember the devil telling me, you're too old now. You waited too long. You're 21. You're old now. Forget it. You blew it. Now I look back and say, if I could change anything about my life, it certainly wouldn't be my wife. I would just come to Jesus quicker. I wish I would. But 21's not that old, people. Remember, teens, youth does not last all your life. Verse 10 also says, childhood and youth are vanity. They'll pass. But the Lord, He's the same today, yesterday, tomorrow. And we're going to have to give an account. In closing, Bob, the only way that we can enjoy life is to find God's gift of happiness in Jesus Christ. And I know the world doesn't believe that, but I do. I believe God's Word. Roll up your sleeves, take on life, enjoy life, but do it with the Lord in your life. Have a blast today. Have a blast now, and have a blast all your life until life is over. While you last, enjoy your life as long as it lasts. Let's all stand, please. If you need to, get a doll.
In the presence of my enemies.
Rod Collier, come and pray, please. Rod, come and pray.
Loud as the unbelief, I praise the hallelujah. My wealth is a melody. I praise the hallelujah. And your love's gone from me. Let's sing that chorus. And I'm gonna sing in the middle of the storm, louder and louder, gonna hear my praises roar. Out from the ashes, one will arise, death is defeated, the King is alive.
Let's bow our heads. Our Heavenly Father, Lord, just come to you and we want to put everything in perspective. Life is short, and I really know it myself because I'm probably one of the worst ones here. And the youth is the time to really take advantage of that time. And the working time of my life was actually the happiest time of my life. So don't wait. Take advantage of it now. And stay close to the Lord, because He will guide and direct you in every bit of happiness that you could ever possibly think of having. And I learned one statement that says YOLO, and I think all of you know what that is. You only live once. So stay close to the Lord, follow Him. He will give you all the happiness that you could ever